You are listening to Level Up Your Gaming Podcast, Episode 90, Breaking the Fourth Wall. Today we talk about breaking the fourth wall. We discuss what it means to break the fourth wall and why we'd want to do this. We also discuss how breaking the fourth wall can improve your players as well. Please note that there will likely be no episode next week, 11/3. We apologize for this, but we've had some unforeseen circumstances come up that have delayed the podcast. We'll have a new episode 11/10 for sure. Thank you for listening, as always. If you'd like to participate in the discussion or leave us feedback, you can contact us at levelupyourgamingpodcast@gmail.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/levelupyourgaming. If you like the content and want to hear more of the show, subscribing will ensure you don't miss an episode. New episodes come out almost every Wednesday. Also, please review, tell a friend about the podcast, or share with your gaming group. Now sit back and enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Level Up Your Gaming Podcast. My name is Aaron, and joining me in person, you'll often think he's a player or an oracle sent from above. Jared.
An oracle sent from above. It's mighty nice of you. Is that because last podcast?
Last podcast,
I was castrated me in a public forum.
I was tearing you apart last podcast.
Jesus Christ! Like I said, you woke up and ate your shittios.
Ripping you
like
apart. I was eviscerating you. He was crying afterwards.
Like, dude, it hurts. I was a little hurt.
And I threw the milkshake at him. And I was like,
didn't throw a milkshake because I would have drank it. I like milkshakes.
I do too.
Fucking delicious.
It's one of my biggest regrets with the keto diet. Oh, actually, there is a solution for it, but
all right, no doubt.
Yeah.
So, what is our topic for today?
So our topic for today is breaking the fourth wall. And the reason why I like this episode, or the reason why I even... All right, I'm getting my just comeuppance here.
No, I was doing an intro. Breaking the fourth wall is a cool thing.
The reason why I was thinking about this was I was listening to another podcast on not choosing the right direction, or like that there's no right answer. And I'm like, you end up in so many situations where as a player, we're sitting there going and talking to one another out of character, trying to figure out which direction we're going to go. We're talking about our character's plans and trying to figure out which direction we're going to go. And as a GM, you're sitting there and you're trying to be in silence and not be like, that's the one you should do. Nope, that's not the one you should do. But your players eventually end up in analysis paralysis, and they're stuck there.
I love that fucking term.
And you're like, okay, good, I've got him. And you just come in and you just slyly interject, well, have you thought about this?
Yes.
and then your players look at you and they go,
how did he know?
Divine providence from the GM. And like,
I wrote it. That's how I knew.
And that now that I've GM'd more, that's one of my favorite things to kind of do. And I see when you used to do it now, I see it a lot. It's almost like you get to sit in and kind of be a player and, and engage with them. Like, okay, it's like I'm going to come in and be a mediator and break the fourth wall.
Can I be totally honest? Yeah. I did not think that was what we were going to be talking about.
Well, maybe we can talk about any situation of breaking the fourth wall.
Breaking the fourth wall, I mean, like, that's a thing. It's a thing.
I know.
I've ventured into it. I've done it. Do you know what game I'm thinking of?
Where you broke the fourth wall.
Or I was trying to. I was working on that a little bit. Shattered Sphere.
Really? How so?
So remember at the end of the game when they were, Ken actually had it right. He predicted it correctly. At the end of the game and at the ending narrative, they actually called your names for the flight. Because remember how the game started on a flight that was crashing, right? And at the end of the game, they called, Aaron, Ken, Brian, to get yada yada. And in the epilogue, you guys got up and went to the flight.
Oh.
Ken was like, it said our names. I was like, no, I wouldn't do something like that.
I thought that was just you being clever with time.
No, that was me being clever with breaking the fourth wall in an actual game.
Because they actually called Aaron Brian. I thought they called their players' names. No, I totally misunderstood what you just said.
No, they called the players' names. They inside the game. It was a shattering of the fourth wall. So the fourth wall. So for those of you who don't know what the fourth wall is, the fourth wall is the invisible boundary between the story, the fictional story, and the audience. Okay, so for example, when
just think Deadpool, because Deadpool does.
Deadpool talks to the audience all the time.
Yes,
he completely shatters the fourth wall and is like, now this is where I pull out my really big gun, and he's looking directly into the camera. He does it all the time. He's known for it. And breaking the fourth wall in a game, that's something cool. When you can work that in, when you can actually do that, but I don't want to go into that topic so much because I found out that Aaron's topic's a little different. It's about more of the concierge, or not concierge.
This could be any situation of breaking the fourth wall, because this is just one way that you do it, is you interject yourself out of the game as the GM. So the GM is the keeper of the reality and the fiction that you're holding.
Correct.
And when the GM becomes a player and speaks to the players outside of the game effectively, even as a consigliere, you are breaking the fourth wall. You are breaking down the barrier. You aren't supposed to know what's behind the GM screen. And the GM's like, but maybe I'll show you this card. Is this your card? And you're like, no, I didn't have the ace of spades, but thank you for showing me that. Like,
consigliere moments. So for those of you who don't know what a consigliere is a advisor to the Don of a mafia family, because our buddy Nick is about as Italian as you get, so everything has to come down to mob terms. So he nicknamed it the consigliere moment, where you can counsel each other.
But we've always let that moment go across player to player when you're not in the situation, which is also breaking the fourth wall. You're breaking the fiction. Mm-hmm. I'm now allowing you to talk to somebody outside of the game.
What should I do?
What should I do?
Should I pull out my sword? Should I pull out my sword? And everyone's like, no, for the love of God, no. That's breaking the fourth wall. And do you allow it? I do. I absolutely do. Why? Because what is the number one goal of role-playing? Is a good time with your friends, right? What is more hilarious or fun? Fun. I shouldn't say hilarious. It's fun. Then when you've got, Aaron looking over being like, should I pull out my gun? And you've got Brian going, oh my God, no. Just the hypothetical situation makes Aaron laugh. And it's a fun situation, and that's the goal of role playing as a whole. Is now, where do you draw the line between metagaming and where do you draw the line between that? Here's my thing: is the intent malicious? Is the intent to cheat the storyteller? Is the intent to gain more power? If it isn't, I call it consigliere. If it is, I call it metagaming. And that's the thing about being a GM, is you are the ref on the field of play. And you might want to say, like, oh, I set hard, fast rules for that at the beginning. Like, no. Baseball's got very defined rules. I mean, it comes down to, like, what they can put on their gloves nowadays, the pitcher, because they got to make sure there isn't suntan lotion on there or something that makes the ball go faster. And even though that rule is there, it's defined. Notice that the ref still is, or the ump is still checking players' mitts for all this shit now. Like I've been seeing it on baseball games. Like the ump is like damn near patting down the pitchers every time they switch out pitchers. Mm. It's like, let me check the back of your neck to make sure you don't have suntan lotion there.
So you have pine tar, I think is what it
is. There's something called like spider or something like that is making the ball, like when you put it on a ball, it makes like almost every ball like miraculously freaking curve, like in mid-flight. And it's a cheat. It's a cheat. But the ref's got to make that determination there on the, because they were also putting in their like belt. And so they just act like they're readjusting their belt and put a little of that on there, and suddenly...
Hey, listen, he ain't cheating, he ain't trying, okay?
That is the name of the game in baseball. Baseball's only known for cheating. Like, holy shit. But, you know, when it comes down to breaking the fourth wall in that consigliere moment, the thing is that I will... it's hilarious. If the advice starts falling into metagaming, I will literally, and I've done this in the past, I haven't had to do it in a very, very long time because I have two very experienced players. You know, before that I had 3 very, very experienced players, so, you know, there wasn't much of it. But when we were, you know, younger and had a larger party with varied levels of capability, you know, I'd be like, don't listen to that. You don't know that. And it's like when judges tell the jury, like, you will disregard that statement. That is the most bullshit statement ever. Like, I, as a juror, will be like, you want me to forget that statement? Oh, hell no. You just ingrained it in my mind because the judge is like, disregard. The jury will disregard that statement. I'm like, motherfucker, that just went in my fucking personal diary. Like, this person said this, and then the judge told me to disregard. Judge, look at that diary, be like, you wrote out, ha, 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 ha. Yes, I did, Your Honor. And so, either way, you know, like, when it happens, instead of trying to like be like disregard, just be like, and that's where we're gonna end. That's where we're gonna end it. Let him make his choice. Make a choice now. No more consigliere. Make your choice. Make a choice. And you know, and because never even attempt the disregard. They're never gonna. The statement's been made. It's already there.
It's already out there in the ethos. They all know it. Okay?
They all know it.
The jury cannot forget. But I always find it fun. I mean, we do it between players a lot here within our group, but we always, when you do it as a GM, it's always very interesting. I think it's usually done as more of like a thought jogging experiment. Also, when like you hear us going like way down the wrong path.
Oh my God!
You're just trying
to
wind us back just a little bit. Maybe I can just turn you off the cliff.
Surely, Laverne, no.
You guys are kind of careening towards that cliff over there. Maybe I can just turn you this way. Like,
and you have to. And if you think as a storyteller, because I hate the hands off approach. I really hate it when storytellers are like, they're going the wrong way. They're going the wrong way. And then I hear them 2 sessions later bitching like, my players are completely like not following the story. Trust me, I've heard it from so many storytellers. I remember distinctly like, oh, if they're gonna go that way, they're gonna go that way. And then literally 3 weeks later, I will hear them bitch like, players aren't even following the story anymore that I worked so hard on. You didn't fucking stop them from going over the cliff.
You gave them no cause to stop going in that direction. That is your biggest problem. If your players are going to go in that direction just because they're dicks and they want to go in that direction, they're going to go in that direction. But most players, I'm telling you, most players, unless they're dicks, okay, unless they hate you, hate your stories, hate what you're telling.
Okay, let's not take it that far. But no,
but most players will course correct if they see no fruit in that tree. If they will do it on their own. If they see no destiny in that direction, they will turn back around.
But you as a storyteller have to make it clear that there's no fruit on those trees. Because
those are not apple trees.
Those are
oak trees.
Oak trees, okay? They make acorns. You know, give them... Because here's the thing, if I'm walking towards, I'm trying to find apples and my path is left and right, but I see trees on both.
It's a birch tree. You can't eat the bark.
Okay, and I start walking down the path. You better tell me that down the path I can see that those trees don't exactly look like apple trees. You better tell me that those trees look a little different.
Now, if I say, hold on 1 second, I want to make sure they're not apple trees. You get closer, they're not apple trees.
They're not apple trees. And you can let them get closer and give them that freedom. But let them know when they've gone far enough to identify that clearly these are not apple trees. These are oak or birch, because Aaron keeps changing his tree type. Make sure that they know. And it's like, guys, there ain't no fucking apples here. And we're starving to death. Don't also make it like a freaking odyssey to get back to the point that they were, you know what I mean? Make sure that there's a clear defined path to get back to the apple trees, because otherwise you're punishing them for not knowing the future, which is not a fourth wall friendly thing to do.
I mean, another way that we tend to break the fourth wall is that we will reiterate information that the players have forgotten. Okay?
Yes. Oh my God, yes. I have done that so often. Well, did you guys look at that? Did you see in that report this detail?
It is so hard. I mean, this could come down to your GMing style. Maybe you were subject to a GM that was like, listen, you didn't write it down. You just don't remember.
Yeah, I've been subject to that quite often.
I think everybody's been subject to a GM that's done that once in a while.
It's called LARP.
Okay. The reality is this. Okay. I mean, I was just listening to our social episode again, the one that we did with examples, and you brought up a point in that, which was, you role played out a piece of information in it that I didn't even hear. Okay, that when until you explained it to me, I was like, I'm sitting there with like a dumb look on my face, like, I didn't even hear that. Okay, so there's so much information that you're going to pass to your players
that they're not going to remember.
They're just not going to hear. It doesn't matter if they write immaculate notes. And this isn't fucking class. This isn't school. Okay, this is fun.
Allow me to elaborate on that. One of my responsibilities at work is actually taking minutes in the meeting. I know everyone's going to be like, isn't that the like office manager or secretary's job? No, apparently it's meant for us, you know, project managers. Apparently that's our freaking responsibility, but so is the dictum. I take immaculate fucking notes in our meeting. I mean, like I've developed my own database system of note taking. Okay, that's searchable by keyword, filterable by date. It's fucking brilliant, right? It's amazing. Guess what? I send these out after every meeting. I mean, within 30 minutes of that meeting, you've got that meeting plus the entire database to cross-reference and search. It's got a tags function, for God's sakes. Okay, tags. People still can't find the note that they need. Don't remember what month that note was made in. Like literally, that is a thing that I've had to deal with where I was like, I don't know. And I took the note. I'm even a party to this, but I can't find the note that I needed. Cause I was like, oh man, the client said it. Was it March, February? Shit. I can't even remember what month they said. Was it cold or was it rainy? I can't even remember if it was winter or spring.
The reason why is because you don't attach memories and fixed memories to these things. And even if you write down great notes and you start perusing them, you start going back through them, if your game's long, holy shit, you got no shot.
Unless you're expecting them to create a searchable database like I've done.
Even with that,
they can't find the notes. You know, so if you know that there's that critical piece of information that their characters have heard, that their characters know, that their characters need, I'm going to take that fourth wall. I'm going to take a hammer to it. I'm going to smash it. And I'm going to be like, hey, you guys remember, of course, when you guys went to Miss Sally's breakfast house and there was the guy staring at you the whole time. Do you remember his name? Oh, I don't remember his name. Wasn't it Billy something? I think it was, and I'll search through my notes, be like, yeah, it was Billy, was it Billy Hendrickson? Yeah, it was Billy. And then, of course.
Then you can start putting the things together. You can reconnect them because it is so annoying. It is so annoying to have to sit there. And again, if your players take no notes, okay, then and you want them to take some notes so they, maybe jot down some of the important information.
That's always helpful.
Okay. That's useful because you want your players to be able to cross-reference that. That's a good skill for your players to have. I'm not saying your players should be stenographers here and recording the minutes. Can you read me back the last 3 minutes? Thank you, Jared.
I'm damn near a stenographer.
Okay. But I want you to have enough information written down that, like, if I cross-reference a piece of information in another conversation, you can look at you can go like, "Oh, that sounds familiar." Like, and you look at your notes and you go, I wrote that down.
I did. The other thing I also want to caution about, like, you storytellers that are out there being like, you should have taken fucking notes. Okay, I will tell you this. Let Jared dive into the artiste, because I am an artiste. If your players are sitting there taking such detailed fucking notes, right? You see them, their pens are scribbling. Right? They're deep in there, drawing their diagrams and trying to draw the sigil that you just drew. Guess what they're not doing? Playing the fucking game. They're not listening to your detailed description of the grain that you worked so hard on because you want to be, what's the guy from Critical?
Matt Mercer.
You want to be Matt Mercer, so you're describing the way the grain fucking flows because you know what? That motherfucker gets paid to do what I would love to get paid to do, who doesn't. I know, Matt, if you ever listen to this, understand I don't hate you, I'm just jealous of you. Envy. Man, I am a bad Catholic.
It comes from a place of envy.
It does. Like, I mean, like, honestly, he's an artist. He's an artist, but he gets paid for his art. That's also why he's really, really good. Because he gets to do that for a job. Oh, man, what would that be like? But the thing is, if your players are taking such diligent notes, I guarantee you they are missing out on some of the cool things that you are doing. That's why you almost have to be prepared to reread the notes. Because I want my players to sit there and go, I want to say, like, the grain waves and the distant plains. I don't want them writing down what kind of grain it is. Because you're like, oh, that might be important. I got to make sure it's edible grain.
You have to be prepared to reread the notes to them and break the fourth wall. And if your players look like stuck and they've got, clueless looks on their face, like, that's where it comes out, where you got to share the fourth wall. You got to go like you're thinking, where do we go next? And you go like, well, let's recap what you know. And,
there we go. Guide them through a session of recapping. Let's everyone break out their notes and discuss their notes and use leading questions.
The worst thing that can happen, actually this happens a lot, if you force your players to take super, really detailed notes, if you've made a mistake,
they've got it locked.
They've got the mistake on their sheet of paper, okay? And I guarantee you, as they are looking at those notes, they are lost because it doesn't make any sense.
None.
It does. It's like if you're trying to be like, this happens every other day, like, but you have a date wrong, and now you've got one where it backs up against like this one doesn't make any sense, and you're sitting there, you're talking to the other players. Maybe they haven't vocalized that yet. Maybe they go like, well, I'm looking for a pattern in this, and it doesn't seem to make any sense. You're like, of course there's a pattern. I've given you every fucking date. That all makes sense.
And then you gave one date wrong.
And you gave one date wrong. One date wrong. And it throws up the whole goddamn thing. And somebody took that note, and now they've got the wrong information. This is why it's just better to break the fourth wall and go.
Just way better.
And just go, listen, let's recap what you know. Okay? Because if I told you something wrong, then I'm now giving myself an opportunity to correct it for you. And then, two, that helps correct players. Oh, my God, I did this, or I got this note. Oh, was that a mistake on your part? Like, you can ask that question. You go like, yeah, it was. Like,
and I want to also engage our audience in the moral section of this conundrum. Some of you might be like, well, that's kind of cheating. It's kind of like it defeats the purpose of the game. If you see a truck stuck in the mud and you got a winch, right, and you can winch that motherfucker out, and you just stand there being like, kind of like to watch him struggle. Like, what kind of shithead are you? I like to watch the struggle. All right.
I like to watch my players.
Hold on, I'm not done yet. Because here's the thing. I love the Resident Evil games. Aaron and I grew up on the Resident Evil games. I remember us being scared out of our fucking minds at Resident Evil 2. Okay, we come up to the part where you got to switch the two fucking statues, right? You got to push one and then push the other and rotate them. Okay. Also, now Resident Evil Village 8 has come out. I've gotten into this one part where I had no fucking clue where to go, right? None. I had zero idea. I spent 2 fucking hours, right, running around this very small area trying to think about how the fuck to get out. Didn't figure it out. Guess what I did? I went on Google, typed in Resident Evil Village, the part that I was playing, how to get out. Bing! I think within 3.3 milliseconds, because Google has to tell you how long it took for you to conduct the search. I had an answer. Your players can't do that. Okay? If they're getting super fucking frustrated because you like to watch them struggle, go fishing. All right? There, you can feel that fish be like, God, no! All right? But don't take it out on your players. Continue.
All I'm trying to say is that, it's nice to let your players work out problems on their own.
It is.
Okay? And it makes sense. And I want my players to communicate with one another and work out the problem on their own. At the same time, I don't want them to go like, okay, we did this. Like, what do we do now? Do we go back to the first thing?
And that's a sure sign right there. What do we do now?
The
minute that you hear, what do I do now? It's time to break out the winch.
Yeah, now your players have gotten truly stuck in the mud. They're totally locked up. They don't have any other places to go, and either they've missed a key element in one of the scenes that they were supposed to get, or they've forgotten a key element about one of the things they're supposed to do. Maybe you gave them 5 things and they only remembered 3.
Yeah.
Okay, and they forgot about them. And this is the thing. I just experienced this in my game. You guys have forgotten about a lot of the things we've done.
I haven't forgotten shit.
Yes, you have.
Oh, dude, I'm the worst memory. Of course I have.
If both of you have forgotten this. And I was like, I think it was in night 3. I was like, I just want to remind you, because I'm not sure if you forgot this, but this is also a thing. And you're like, oh yeah.
No, I'm probably the most forgetful fucking person.
Oh yeah, we did grab that at the scene of the crime.
I'm a project manager. Sometimes I forget a belt. And they put me in charge of millions of dollars. It
happens to the best of us.
I don't get it.
When I used to go to the office, I would forget a belt every now and then. It always felt awkward because you're like, how? How
did I forget a belt? This is a critical thing to keep my pants up so they don't drop in the office. And then I'm going to walk around holding my pants all day. Okay, off our pants. but the thing is, if you want to see a little bit of player engagement, getting them to work things out, right? Either one, you got to watch that truck very, very closely. Okay, get out your binoculars. Make sure that truck is making some forward progress. Is it fighting in the mud and getting somewhere? Or is it stalled out and it's sitting in that mud? 2, if it's fighting but it's not getting enough, try throwing some tools. You should... Oh, okay, this analogy actually doesn't work with mud.
The truck analogy doesn't work because it breaks down. You're not sitting there like, you good?
Good.
You got that? Because I'm going to get going if you good.
Have I told you I decided not to get a winch for my truck?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I mean, the whole point, though, is that, that's another example of you breaking the fourth wall and things kind of coming together. Also, let's say your player is about to do something crazy, or really any action in general.
Yeah.
And they look at you, they're like, okay, rules call, let's talk about this. I'm thinking about doing this. Okay.
Thinking about jumping over this canyon.
And you go, all right.
Or building the building.
To make that roll, it would be this and this. I'll be honest with you, probably going to be a very challenging roll. Probably gonna be, if you miss this,
this is a vital thing.
The
fair warning is a vital thing, because here's the thing, and this is actually perfectly natural, perfectly human. There's a reason that when we get scared or when we start moving into an area that we feel threatened, that our hair starts raising up, right? This is a biological reaction. When we think there's about to start being a fight, believe it or not, there's a primordial part of our brain that is actually engaged and starts getting ready even before we know we're ready, right? We feel the emotional tension, and the body starts pumping that adrenaline a little bit, just a little bit. Doesn't go full bore until it knows there's an actual goddamn fight. But it starts getting ready. It starts priming the pump, right? My cats, they tend to look, whether or not they can make that jump. And I've seen them go, nah, and turn around, right? We don't get that from role-playing, because I'm not actually in a physically threatening situation. So the hairs on the back of the hairs on my arm are not telling me that, bro, your body feels, your lizard brain is saying, get the fuck out of here. Your lizard brain isn't going, we're getting ready for a fight. Your lizard brain is not saying, we're not going to make that jump, because our bodies are not in that situation. There isn't the lizard brain that just knows what the fuck's going on. We as storytellers sometimes have to act as the lizard brain, right? When they're like, I'm thinking about jumping from building to building. Break the fourth wall, be their lizard brain, and be like, you'll never make that fucking jump.
That's a terrible idea.
We're going to plummet to our death. We want to live to see tomorrow.
You're allowed to tell him. That's a terrible idea.
That's horrible. Or like, you can be the lizard brain, like, you see it in his eyes. He's getting ready to sock you. Like, you can feel it. There's something in the air tonight. Like, you can feel it. Trust me, you're talking to a guy who was in over 120 physical managements with violent felons in a single school year. That was even a low year. Okay. There's something in the air. I can fucking smell it when I'm like, yep, we're about to go to the ground. Here we go together. You can smell it. You can feel it. All right. And that's something that you've got to be there for the characters, to be their lizard brain, to be like the you can smell on the wind that this guy is just, he's about to lay you out, and you just get a feeling. Like, you just get a feeling. Or like, you get a feeling that something's in that dark, dark room.
Because, again, it's hard to convey what you said to your players. It's hard to convey that sense of danger, innate danger, that's supposed to be there. And so the only way that you can do that is you can break the fourth wall. You can say, that bad.
There is something definitely in the darkness, and yes, it is going to eat you.
And you can feel it.
You can feel it. As you step closer and closer to that black abyss that lays beyond the threshold, you feel the darkness staring back at you, and it is hungry. If these warnings do not tell your player to directly about face, or if they prefer to fire into the darkness while making a tactical retreat, I'm not going to run fucking backwards. I want to see what's about to hit me, right? Fire off a few rounds, pull back. Just let them know, like, I'm going quietly. Nothing like some 5.56 into the darkness, This is why my house has bullet holes. No, I'm kidding. That storage room, there's something in there.
Maybe got it.
Maybe got it. Neighbor's just certainly awake now. Could you imagine how pissed I'd be if I let off some rounds in here? Holy shit. I told you the one time my dad blew a hole in the ceiling.
No.
Oh, God, I got to tell you that story. I'll tell you later. My dad blew a hole in the ceiling. Wasn't because of the darkness. It's because he forgot to check the chamber. So I either way, if your players are not listening to that fourth wall break, if you are literally shattering the illusion of
suspension of disbelief.
If you are shattering the suspension of disbelief to warn them, and they are not listening, their life is forfeit, okay? Their character is about to get irked, and that's going to be the end of it, okay?
And when they walk into that darkness and you go, you were eaten, and they go, well, why? I don't understand why. I didn't get a roll? Like, I told you the darkness was hungry, and I am saying that you died screaming, okay? Like, that's how it ended. Let it be known to the rest of you fucking players that he died screaming. Does anybody else want to try the darkness?
Does anyone else want to go? Play with me, motherfucker. Play with me. Sometimes you got to shoot a hostage. Oh my God, I said that one time in a teacher's meeting. You would never believe the looks that I got. But it's the truth. Sometimes you got to shoot a hostage just so the rest of the kids know that you're not fucking around. Well, that's when I found out that I should stick with gang kids and not engage in typical education. I was not built for that. I was built for my kids. I loved them. God, I loved them. I miss them.
And so that's just another example of breaking the fourth wall. The other way that you can break the fourth wall is it's actually just in that same vein is. I lost it. I don't know. I can't remember.
It's because you numbered it, didn't you? That's what I do. Whenever I number something, it's fucking gone. I'm forgetting at least number 3.
Yeah, I can't remember.
No, but these warnings are vital. Information is vital. You have to walk across the fourth wall.
I remembered it.
Oh, hey!
If an outcome happens in the game, or you get to a different point in the game, and you are approached by a question about what went down, okay? This is the only other kind of breaking the fourth wall situation that you can do. Like maybe you're coming off of a really intense scene, and your players are like, "Whoo, man, that was a hoot. That was fun. That was great. Like, did you have that planned?" Like, this is the only other type of breaking the fourth wall thing that you can kind of do sometimes. Okay, sometimes you can say like, "No, I made that up. No, had you done this, I would have done it different." Typically, I wait till after the game is over.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's typically where it will come in. And in some cases, you want to tear down some of the things that your players might ask you about, trying to clean up some of the information there and try to make the game make sense. But I feel like that's like the final bit of tearing down the fourth wall, is you're kind of bringing them behind the curtain and showing them, all the props that were used.
No, I absolutely do that. Aaron and I typically actually do that at the end of our games. I kind of do a Q&A session, and it's always fun. As long as it doesn't...
as long as that, like, did you keep me alive?
Yeah, I never answer that shit. I will never answer that shit. I will look them dead in the face, and I will fucking lie. I will look my friend of 20 plus years in the face and be like, "No, you totally survived that on your own. You guys got killed like 7 times by my fucking rolls. Why? Because this is White Wolf. It's insanely fucking lethal as a game system comparatively to D&D. D&D, I hit you with a sword, -4 points. Well, thank God I've got 108. White Wolf, I hit you with a sword. It did 4 damage. Oh my God, I am halfway dead.
I'm practically dead. And you're like, oh, okay, the ultimate learning curve for me in the White Wolf system was when I was doing the one game, and I was trying to stat out guys to fight you. And I always thought 4 dice. 4 dice is it's an average person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 4 dice. You guys typically are throwing around like 6, and then to 8 depending on like, you know, how skillful your characters
Rachel's
are.
like a beast.
Yeah, depending on how skillful your characters are. Okay? The problem is that because it's contested rolls, 4 dice is like great. Okay? 4 dice is really, really strong.
My top tier villains have 4 dice.
Okay.
My bottom tier villains have 2.
Most and then like, so I was like, okay, I got it.
So if I'm kicking your ass, I'm kicking your ass with 2 dice.
I don't want to hurt these guys with anything else. So I'm going to roll 2 dice. So I'm just going to roll 2 dice.
That's what I do.
And then I roll the 2 dice, and then you guys like botch, and I'm like, oh no, I just killed them. I just murdered them.
That's why, like, here's the thing, like, you know, and I will never tell my players. I will never tell my players, because then they the only time that I will like let them know that I'm not fucking around is like I will literally be like, this is a lethal warning right now. Like Jared is not pulling punches.
This is play very, very smart right now, because everything everything counts.
I'm playing for keeps. I'm playing for points. And you know,
that doesn't mean he's not playing for points and keeps in other situations.
It doesn't.
It just means that he might make an executive decision behind the scenes. He is the boardroom, the CEO, the CTO, the COO.
I'm sitting there and I'm ready to connect player or characters to God's Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? I'm ready to erase you from the census. I'm about to end some lifetime subscriptions. Okay, like I'm ready. That's what I'm saying. Like, because it can happen anytime. A stray bullet can end a character. That's absolutely. But at the same regards, I never cap characters without a good reason. And when I give that extreme lethality warning, I'm saying I'm aiming to cap your ass. You better fight for your lives.
Better be willing to run.
Better be willing to run.
Because if you stand your ground, be ready to die.
Exactly. Because, you know, or, you know, tactically retreating. Because, you know,
plugging 3 into the storage room.
3 into the storage room and then fall back. You know,
but I urge you
learn how to peel.
to go back on the point there at the end there is opening up that dialogue there at the end, especially if you have other aspiring GMs at your table.
Yes, it's great.
It's really good to kind of show them maybe some of the tips and the secrets that you used to make like how the sauce was made, and so like they get a better sense of like, okay, like I could do that. Like, oh, that's a really good thing to like kind of know. Like, okay, good. He didn't have that planned, and so now maybe it kind of gives me more confidence that I don't need to have that planned either.
Yeah,
okay? That doesn't mean that like you're giving away state secrets here, but you're giving them
giving away state secrets.
Yeah, you're just giving them a little bit of the nudge as to like, okay, this is why it was handled this way. Or you're also opening up the gaps of the mystery that were maybe missed. Maybe something wasn't clear in the game, and this is you now explaining like, oh, you got to the end of it. Here is what happened. So.
Yep. No, I fully endorse after game debriefs and you know, giving a little bit of the recipe. Don't give away the whole cow, but
you have to give away all your spices that you put to the sauce. But you know, if you know, this is the base: tomato,
salt,
oregano,
shit like that.
Yeah. But delicious. You put turmeric in yours.
That's what makes mine fucking special.
But yeah, anyways, do you have anything else you want to add this one?
Nope, that will be all for me.
All right, well, that's enough of us breaking the fourth wall, so. We hope you enjoyed the episode. If you have some thoughts on breaking the fourth wall, speaking out to your players, maybe situations that you like to use it, other examples of it that we didn't use here, Level Up Your Gaming Podcast at gmail.com or facebook.com/levelupyourgaming. You can also find us on YouTube. Leave us a comment there if you'd like. So
go ahead and try walking around the fourth wall rather than smashing through it, and then hit the like button.
Thank you. And go ahead and subscribe to the podcast if you aren't already. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you probably are, because it's got a lot of great content. Go ahead and recommend it to a friend. Leave a review on your favorite podcast site, all that other good stuff. And that's going to wrap us up for the week. So for Jared, I'm Aaron. Have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week, everyone.